The Joe Rogan Experience.
Who goes in there?
Well, people I like. I mean, Clint Eastwood's gone. He's not really a member. Look.
Is it fun?
Look, it's 2,700 acres. It was set up by Mark Twain, and it was a liberal deal for like hookers and gay dudes and just everything else. Just a big, huge.
Would you say gay dudes? What?
Gay dudes.
Gay dudes. I was like,
No, I'm saying if you go back to like the 1870s when Mark Twain set up, it was classically liberal. It was partying. It was their own 2,700 acres. It was saloons. They brought in female hookers. There was gay guys in there. Everything. It was Bohemian Groves, what they called it that, because people did whatever they wanted. And it was open, and they had like poetry and they had plays and they had all the rest of it. Then. By the time of Howard Taft became president, the Republicans basically bought it. So the reason it's important is the Republicans go there to they ship in all these private hookers, all these jets land nearby, but they also have a lot of gay sex, which they use then to basically compromise people into the cult. And so there's a lot of gay sex.
how do you know this?
It came out in news articles. No one ever got footage of it. I was in there for one day. I snuck in. I looked good back then. They hit on me a lot. I had people I recognized from TV walking around. Hey, let's go right now. I mean, it's a big gay hookup deal for Republicans. I'm just telling you what it is. And then they've got this ritual that's only the feeder group. So I'm sitting there during the ritual, and I'm like, hey, this is pretty cool. And the dude goes, shut up, I'll kill you. And they're all taking it very seriously. And I'm not saying it's a gay thing. I'm saying that some of that goes on there.
You were saying it was cool and people were getting angry that you were saying
No, I mean, I was just quietly going, oh, this is really interesting. And they're like, shut up, this is a very important ritual. And they were taking it very serious. This hearse comes in with the body of a child. It is an effigy. They're not killing it. And
it's just a bundle of sticks, right?
Yeah, well, it looks like a kid. No, later, others infiltrated later that worked there and got us photos of it. It's an image of a kid. It's a little kid.
Because Moloch in biblical is who they sacrifice the Canaanite.
It's a bull, but they do it as an owl. But
they do it as an owl, yeah. But that's from the Bible, is you would sacrifice a child to Moloch.
Give not your children to the fires of Moloch.
Right,
and so I've given it to experts in religious history. It's not even, from Christian perspective. Yeah. It's a Faustian deal mixed with Babylonian and religious stuff from Tyre.
Yeah. It's quirky.
Look at that. Look at that owl god and look at the fire underneath the owl god.
And there's Ronald Reagan.
I mean, if you saw that, if you were in the woods and you just saw that, you would be terrified.
And Richard Nixon said, Richard Nixon on the Richard Nixon tape says it's a gay orgy.
Richard Nixon said that?
You can pull up. Richard Nixon talks about...
Yeah, Richard Nixon said something about it where he...
It's the most goddamn faggy thing you ever seen.
I think it's just allowing...
Well, nothing against... That's what it's saying.
I think it's guys that aren't gay that engage in gay acts in the woods, and then they have something on each other, similar to Epstein's Island, where
that's
like,
it.
That's what it is.
It's like a fraternity doing that. You got to screw.
So
it
is that part?
Hazing.
Hold on a second. What is this here?
And they don't allow women.
No.
It says founded in 1872 by a group of male.
That's the context that YouTube adds.
Bohemian
When you talk
Club?
about Bohemian Grove. This is the title of the video.
See, I told you, founded 1872.
Richard Nixon, Bohemian Grove, most faggy goddamn thing he could ever imagine.
Yeah.
Yes, play it. 100% play it. I want to hear
It's
this.
the Nixon tapes, yeah.
Let me hear this.
Let's look at Northern California. You understand?
Northern California.
You know what's happening in San Francisco just gone. It's clear over. I know that, but it isn't just down in the ratty part of town. But the upper class in San Francisco is that way. The Bohemian Grove that I attend on time to time, the Easterners and the others that come there. But it is the most faggy goddamn thing you will ever imagine. The San Francisco crowd goes in there.
The San Francisco crowd goes in there. It's just terrible. Okay.
So weird. The owl and the it's interesting, and I don't know how seriously they take it. I mean, that's a real question, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, the whole gay thing's a side issue,
right?
The point is that I've talked to people that I mean, according to Ted Gunderson, the first time I ever heard about this was from this former high-level FBI agent who was going to be the FBI director, but he wouldn't go along with corruption, so he wasn't. It's on record. Gunderson almost became the FBI director,
and he blew up like the things like the Franklin scandal, and he's been
and the Finders and the Finders Club,
cult, which was huge. Yeah, which where the CIA was caught trafficking. The Finders is a cult that was caught trafficking children, and the CIA squashed the Florida.
And then Gunderson got it raided in D.C. and found a whole CIA facility with the snuff films, everything.
Telex machine.
And so he told me about all this, and I thought he was crazy.
Yeah.
Even though he was Ted Gunderson.
You told us about it, and we actually pulled up one of those stories.
And I was correct.
Yes, you're correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So Ted Gunderson is the reason I know about this, and he said that they get people interested with that ritual. There's like 2,000 members. They bring about 1,000 guests. Not everybody can even bring a guest. Only like the head of each camp can bring a guest. Most of them are nice. Clint Eastwood goes there. Danny Glover goes there. But it's an all-male deal.
Who's the other one?
Danny Glover.
Oh, Danny Glover?
I'm just mentioning who's
Lethal Weapon Danny Glover?
I saw him there.
How the fuck is he in there?
They probably like him from the
He's
movie.
just a fun guy.
I saw him when I was there. I saw Danny Glover.
Interesting. I'm starting to believe this is not. I'm starting to believe we can get in. I'm starting to believe it's not that exclusive.
Joe Rogan, they'd have him in immediately.
Immediately.
Not now.
Do a podcast
Oh, absolutely. They don't
in
care.
front of the owl.
But I just want to say that overall,
Why
it
not?
started
You
out
and me.
as a truly artsy liberal thing that I think's good. I think guys deserve to go off the woods like we've done since humans were
butt
humans
fuck,
and,
right?
and party and do whatever.
Right.
And so it's but the thing is then the weird skull. Here's what happened. About 1900, Skull and Bones that was at Yale in New Haven, Connecticut, that was a German death cult. It took over Bohemian Grove, and that's when they set up that as the central deal. So it's this big, inviting, fun party.
What happens at Skull and Bones? Because that's one of the other rumors about Skull and
I
Bones.
can
They
tell you, I know.
compromise you.
I know.
They compromise you so that you're always a part of this organization.
Well, before he died, I did multiple interviews with Anthony Sutton, the top congressional advisor to Senator Frank Church. And we only know about Sutton because Charlotte Iserby, whose father was high-level Skull and Bones, gave him all of their internal manuals. And she's been a frequent guest. She's retired now.
America's Secret Establishment, an introduction to the Order of Skull and Bones.
Yes.
Okay.
And so this is a Russell Trust true Illuminati. Illuminati set up 1776 to counter our revolution by Adam Weishaupt. It funds the Jacobins. It funds the French Revolution. It's the opposite of a true egalitarian, open liberal revolution. It's the leftist. Always say they're the liberal. Liberal and leftist are two different deals. Leftist is left-hand path Satanism. Liberalism is egalitarian, open society, true liberalism. And so the left-hand path set this up. And then they sent all this opium money they had over in 1831 to Yale to set up a German secret society of the Illuminati, which then has become one of the dominant secret societies. And in there, they do actual satanic rituals. They get in coffins. They do simulated human sacrifices. They have gay sex as part of the ritual. They bathe in huge facilities of feces. This was made by Robert De Niro. Made a movie.
Skull and Bones they're doing that stuff now.
Absolutely, I know somebody broke into it, but
Wow.
who's the?
How can this be proven?
Well, Matt Damon made a movie called The Good Shepherd, I think.
Yes.
And in that, it's Robert De Niro directed it. Okay, and that's super accurate. Where it's got the sword and the devil, and they're in these big vats of cow manure.
They did leak a Facebook photo album of a bunch of Skull and Bones kids hanging on a Deer Island. They kind of look like losers. I know they're not.
no, but
I know they're not, but they kind of look like losers. I mean, it was kind of like
A lot of
embarrassing.
billionaires look like losers.
Yeah, they look like emaciated. You were like, these are the Illuminati. It was kind of like
No, I
ugh.
totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Remember ABC News, because they wanted to get Bush in trouble right before the 2004 election. Another frat was able to, because they're all doing this crap,
Right.
shoot video down into it where they're going, devil equals death, Satan. And they had girls they finally brought into the membership. It was all boys before.
Yeah.
Sacrificing. So, of course, it's idiotic. It's training wheels for what they do. But inside, they go grave rob. They've got Geronimo's skull.
Yeah, the George H.W. Bush supposedly stole Geronimo's skull.
Yeah, you got to do things like
I don't know if that, but that's a legend, rumor thing. Yeah.
It's
Probably
It's
true.
been broken into.
Yeah.
One time the police went in there, but the point is that Skull and Bones, Order 322, is the Illuminati Germanic death cult that now set up chapters all over the U.S., and it took over Bohemian Grove around 1900. And so that's why Bohemian Grove is still this artisan, deal of elitist artist, but then it got co-opted by the Republican Party and Skull and Bones. And Helmut Schmidt, German chancellor, wrote Men in Power as a political retrospective when he retired in the late 80s, saying, I love our Illuminati rituals that we have in Germany in our own sacred groves. But I think they've taken it to a new level with Skull and Bones at Bohemian Grove, and I really enjoy the time we have there.
So these are just these elite institutions where, and Skull and Bones, I think they seek to create close friends amongst people that may not know each other, create loyalty amongst this group of people.
That's why they got to tell them all the things they've done.
You got to tell them all the sexual history, all that stuff. They want these people to be loyal to each other. So when they're not loyal to the laws of America, they're loyal to this oath that they take with each other.
And exactly. And it's like a Team
Look at
America.
Look at this. Descendant sues Skull and Bones over Geronimo's bones. Documents show George W. Bush's grandfather robbed Geronimo's grave. Members of the secret society allegedly steal valuable things and put them in tomb. Great-grandson says Geronimo should be buried in accordance with tradition. Federal law protects Native Americans' rights to their family members' remains.
And let's expand on that. What he just said, because this guy's done his studying. It's like It's like in Team America when the head guy goes.
It's the only person who's ever said I've studied.
No. Nobody says, he goes, suck my cock, Gary. It's not about sex. In Skull and Bones and Bohemian Grove, what he said is most of these guys are not gay. It's an act of dominance. Like, oh, you're a senator, you want to be president, bend over, and like a former president screws you in the ass. And that's what they do. I mean, the ritual is, I'm in charge, bend over.
Well, isn't that a thing with fraternities anyway? Like hazing? You jizz on a cracker?
Exactly. So it's the next deal.
Yeah, but most people in fraternity, I mean, these are the top kids. These are kids that they think are going to occupy leadership positions in the world.
And often do.
So even
Let me give you an example. Even John Ronson saw the photo with me when we snuck into Bohemian Grove.
Yeah.
And they had it hanging in, and people say, why didn't you get a video? I have a camera hidden right here. It's Henry Kissinger bent over in a woman's dress, sticking his fingers in his ass.
Bill Clinton in a blue dress with in Jeffrey Epstein's house.
Yeah, but that's just an artist rendition. Do you know that was just an artist made that?
Yeah, but
maybe
why?
This was an artist rendition. We're in a clubhouse.
Yeah.
Ronson wrote about this.
Oh, so it's a photo or a painting?
No, it looked like a photo, but let's just say it's a painting. I don't know. It's ancient memory 20 years ago.
Okay.
20 plus, But I mean, Ronson's like, look at that. I'm like, oh, is that Kissinger? Yeah, and it's Kissinger. It's all about being improper. And then they all go get caught to compromise each other to be in the club. It's a hazing thing.
So that they can trust each other because they're all doing shady shit.
Yeah.
Yes. Even if it's an artist rendition, why does Jeffrey Epstein have it in his townhouse, a picture of the president in a blue dress?
Well, because the president flew in his fucking plane
that's what
26
I mean.
times.
That's what I mean.
He was
Yeah.
basically,
And by the way,
it was a power
Ghislaine
move,
Maxwell
wasn't it?
is now come out in court. It's getting no attention, confirming, okay, Clinton did fly to that island. That broke 4 days ago. It's gotten zero attention.
Yeah, no, they're not paying. They're not paying attention. We haven't heard anything other than those court documents that just came out.
Listen, I told you. Listen, guys, it's not like I'm even that special. My mom's brother was a famous helicopter pilot in Vietnam, running Black Ops into Laos and Cambodia and stuff. And then I shouldn't tell these stories, but no one's ever heard this stuff. But I remember growing up, him telling me this stuff, and it was true. Like they were, I'm not going to do it. The point is,
please.
No,
What's the problem?
I just can't do it.
What's the danger? You said so much.
Well, no, I mean, let's just say he took the fall for something that was going on. He didn't get in trouble for it. He got promoted. And he was involved in Iran-Contra.
And that's how people get promoted. They fail upward by taking a lot of times the blame for something, or that's like common.
Yeah, so I grew up. I grew up, not just him, but other family, it was like something special, about those Navy SEAL guys. You got a security done a bunch of crazy stuff. That's what our military does. It's not what you hear on the news.
Right.
And it's just completely out of control stuff.
Right.
And I mean, my uncle told me, he said, yeah, I know, I got out of working for these groups and everything as, an Army officer that was sheep dipped. He wasn't wearing an Army uniform and stuff he was doing.
Right.
We were talking high level, like we're talking running the real stuff. Like
special ops.
He was in charge. He had like the command base in Guatemala City because he was like a top Morse code guy.
Yeah.
Of course, they had satellites then, but nobody could read this Morse code coded. So he was sending stuff to the White House Morse code. He was like when he was a kid, he was a champion Morse coder. So he wasn't just in command; he was like running all the stuff. And he just said, I had to do it because he said it was kids being smuggled out of orphanages by the CIA for sex ops in D.C.
Jesus Christ.
And he told me that when he was dying of pneumonia.
Jesus, fuck.
Yeah.
Now, what is it with kids? Why
It's
is
the way to compromise people.
It's the energy, too.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody will hurt kids, and he wouldn't. If somebody will hurt kids.
It's like, what else? They'll do anything.
Episodes of the Joe Rogan Experience are now free on Spotify. That's right, they're free. From September 1st to December 1st, they're going to be available everywhere. But after December 1st, they will only be available on Spotify, but they will be free. That includes the video. The video will also be there. It'll also be free. That's all we're asking. Just go download Spotify. Much love. Bye-bye.